This lap, please confirm.
Who just passed Oriol Servia for the race lead. While we went back and had a look at the position of Scott Dixon on the racetrack, you're hearing the instruction from Wicken's crew, so he'll be giving up the lead.
And he gets to lead his first Indianapolis that he's run in, which is something that's always great, and he becomes part of what they call the Leader Circle Club, even though it was under a different fuel strategy, but still nice to have your name on that board.
Wickens, Servia,
All clear to pit.
Stefan Wilson, Jack Harvey. Those are your top four. Here comes Wickens from the race lead, giving the top spot back to Servia. With 20 laps to go in the Indianapolis 500. In the final miles of the Indianapolis 500, our telecast presented by Firestone. In our ABC side-by-side coverage, you just saw Will Power pass Scott Dixon. So Power, who pitted with 29 laps to go, the highest up of the cars we know can run hard all the way to the finish. But Oriol Servia is the leader, and Steph Wilson is second, and Jack Harvey is third. They all pitted at lap 157, 157, and 158. Will we see another late lead change in this race like we've seen in the last 8 years of the event? How about Servia? Where are they at on their fuel strategy, Jan?
Well, the situation, I just spoke to the strategist, Derek Davidson, and he said, we need a yellow. So they're telling Oriol, okay, push, but unless they get a yellow, by his body English, they will not make it to the end. But if they get that caution, obviously leading the Indy 500, he's right where they want to be.
Then it's a matter of fresh tires and how many other people pit, all those kind of things that might come into play. So there is Servia. Running 4.2 seconds behind Servia is Stefan Wilson, the 28-year-old, originally from Sheffield, England, now from Denver. In his second 500 start for Andretti Autosport. You know the story well. The younger brother of Justin Wilson, who lost his life in a racing crash in an event at Pocono, donated organs that helped 5 others after that crash. Stefan racing not only to compete, but that driven to save lives, promoting organ donation that was so important to him in the aftermath of what happened to his brother. Stefan's supposed to have run his second 500 race a year ago, but was asked to give up the seat when Formula One star Fernando Alonso became available. He did. He was promised he'd have a ride this year. Michael Andretti made good on that promise, and here's Wilson running second with 13 laps to go, Doc.
And he said, I've never felt closer to my late brother than today at this racetrack. I know he would have won this race someday. He said, he is looking after me. He is riding with me. He said, I got nothing after today. He said, I'm standing on the edge of a cliff and there is no tomorrow. So I've got to roll the dice. Whatever I can do to have a shot at winning this race, it'll happen for me and for him.
Crash Doc Tony Kanaan is in trouble and into the wall, and the yellow flag is out with 12 laps to go.
I'm okay. Sorry, guys. I'm bad.
Well, we have a brand new race.
7th caution of the 500, and now Oriol Servia will have a decision on his hand, as well as the others racing on the lead lap. The speed of fresh tires versus the track position and the few laps remaining in this race by the time we go back to green. What happened to Kanaan? That tricky turn 2 caught another one.
Looks like the car just started to wiggle just a little bit. Coming out of the turn, back end started to move a little bit. Looked like he had a correction, almost caught it, and then it got away from him.
Almost doesn't do it around here. That's the same thing.
But you're hopeful.
You can be hopeful as much as you want. Once it gets sideways, you're gone.
You heard him be aggressive on the accelerator. He was looking for a draft going down the stretch, down into turn 3, hoping to make up some positions, and it didn't work out.
What a day Tony Kanaan has had. Remember, he was leading the race, contending for the win, one of the stronger cars in the field. Just after a set of pit stops, came up with a puncture in a tire, had to pit again, fell back, got a lap down, got the lap back, was charging back up to try and be in contention for the win. And now his race car is wrecked, and he's in the safety vehicle, headed for a checkup.
But he had a great performance, didn't he?
Boy, he was solid. So now 11 laps to go in this race. On the lead lap, there are 19 cars. That's a lot of traffic for Oriol Servia to think about giving up track position to try and come back through on fresh tires.
You're the leader. You can go as slow as you want.
There you go. There's a decision.
Well, you really can't. You got to keep up with the pace car, but Jan, he's in the lead right now.
Derek Davidson is on the radio right now to Oriol. All right, you said you wanted to yell. You got it. Can you make it to the end?
We believe we can. We're going to go for it.
So the last word was save, save, save. Right now you save under caution. Will he have enough to hit the go pedal if he gets the pressure from behind?
Yeah, we believe so. Yeah, we think we're good.
Wow, exactly what this team wanted for Oriol Servia. And who knows how this will play out.
If you think a couple of those other restarts were wild, you haven't seen anything yet.
I think there's a very good chance we might have another yellow.
Oh, this is going to be nuts.
These cars are so difficult to drive right on the limit. They keep catching everybody out. To catch a driver like Kanaan out in turn 2, it takes a special set of circumstances.
Well, when you look at Servia, Wilson, and Harvey, your first 3, then behind you, when you look in the mirrors, and you see Will Power, Scott Dixon, Ed Carpenter, Alexander Rossi, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Simon Pagenaud, not only champions there, but Indy 500 winners. You think that they're not going to be coming out? I look for 4 or 5 wide going down in turn 1 restart.
And now Dixon does not have to go slow because he's got some fuel back in the tank, and he can go as fast as he wants, and that'll make a difference.
And then there's Will Power, one of the dominant cars of the race, sitting there in 4th, Rick.
In fact, his strategist, John Boslog, was just telling him, you've got plenty of speed, plenty of power. Let's talk about what he's going to do on this restart. Can he get by these 3 guys?
We think he can. He was running really quick. Talking right now. I think we got something for him for sure. Hopefully they need to go green soon because the guys in front of us still need to save a little bit. But we were a couple mile-an-hour quicker. He's been great all day, great stops. You know, Robbie on our fuel and Dave on the engineer. It's been a solid effort so far. It'd be a shame if we didn't get it because it's been a really good race for us. But that's Indy.
So here's the question: inside, outside, which way do you pass in that restart?
He kept talking. I don't know. It's going to be up to him. He's talking both. So we'll see. It's going to be exciting.
Indeed, it will be.
I think that's an understatement from John Boslog. Just one other driver we want to talk about in this line of cars, that pink and black car right there, number 60, Jack Harvey, driving for Michael Shank, former driver who's made a name building a team in sports car racing. At one time mortgaged his home to keep his team alive. Now his dream to be an IndyCar owner, here for a 2nd year. Harvey, former winner on the oval in the Freedom 100, the Indy Light Series race they have here on Carb Day, making just his 2nd 500-mile race start. And here he finds himself running in 3rd position inside the final 10 laps. What do you think's going through his head?
Remember, he said last year, along with Michael Shank, can't believe that they're here. It's a dream come true. But there is no doubt that your butterflies are in your stomach. And as we're looking here on the left-hand side of the car, the mirror is missing for Oriol Servia. Now, as a leader, Eddie, I'm not sure I'm going to be looking in the mirrors all that much. No. And also remember, you do have the spotters up in turn 1 and turn 3 to let the driver know if there's somebody looking on the high side, the low side. But at this point in time, when the time to go green, there's the spotters all lined up there for all the teams. I would not be looking in the mirrors whatsoever. I'll be putting my foot on the gas.
Going to get the 1 to go signal at the start-finish line. We will get green with 7 laps to go in the 500. Wow.
And heart rate is pumping right now.
And we know, back to a point that Eddie made earlier today, Scott, and your thoughts on this, but as difficult once they get sorted out to pass as it's been, how aggressive everybody's going to be at the drop of the green flag.
You don't even weigh the risk-reward ratio anymore. You just go for it. We heard John Boslaw talk about willpower, go high or go low. You are going to take any opening that's in front of you because he wants to dispatch a car a lap so then he can get out in front and take off from Scott Dixon. Remember, Scott Dixon, not as much fuel, but I think that also Will Power's got a faster car.
Right now, the driver who's leading, Serbia, has to be, if he can, a little bit sneaky on how he takes off, because if you take off where they expect you to on the restart, you will get passed into one. We saw that earlier in the race, so you've got to find a way to put just enough distance between you and the cars behind. But his problem is there's a lot of guys behind him that are thinking exactly the same thing.
Well, the other side of that too is that where you are with Will Power, those three guys up in front, not as much experience with the exception of Oriol Servia. If there's something happening in front of him, you have to get through that accident also.
So coming to the green flag, how long will we race under green with all of that aggressiveness? Another factor in trying to get all you can as fast as you can.
I would say the odds are off on making it through without any problems on the first restart.
These 300,000 people have all just stood on their feet, coming to the green flag on a late restart to see who wins in Indianapolis.
He didn't get enough. He did not get enough.
Here comes Wilson, looking on Servia for the lead. Harvey to the inside, Power in the silver car. Wilson gets it. Power had to check up. How much will that cost him?
I think Dixon's going to get around him.
Stefan Wilson leads the Indianapolis 500.
Unbelievable. Power's going to have to start passing cars. There's not that many laps to go.
Got to get around Servia quick here. Power looking in the draft. Breaks to the outside and he'll get to third place. 6 laps to go.
Thing for Will Power, he's got fresher tires on his car by about 20 laps, so there's definitely going to be more grip.
He's almost close enough to make a pass at the end of this lap, but not quite. Needs another 6 feet.
Power tracking Harvey, gonna look, won't have it in this set of corners.
Now it's all about timing. Sit back here for a little and then get on the gas.
Watch the throttle. Ooh, he lost. He lost time in that lap.
His right hand went down to make an adjustment on the anti-roll bar to change the handling of his car. What a story for Stefan Wilson. Does he have enough fuel?
Oh, he's going to have in the pits. And Harvey pits.
In the pits.
And Will Power takes the lead at Indianapolis with 4 laps to go.
You be the leader, my man.
This is where it's more difficult on the team and the spouse. You're driving the car. You know what you're doing out there. The team right now only sees you come back the front stretch all the time. The spouse, the same thing. For Liz, she's just got to wonder if he'll make it to the end.
Clear by 10.
We'll check his speed. His last lap was a 2:16.
Go hard here. We got cars pit.
Three laps to go.
That lap was a 2:20.
Which, compared to the race pace we've seen for a lot of the days, is blistering.
Is really fast, and the car that's following him just did a 2:16. This is Power's race.
Will Power, for a number of years, talked about having difficulty managing the mental aspect of racing. the pressure situations, had difficulty with that, got himself into position to win a championship, had to lose one to win one, finally won that championship. Then the oval track racing. People said he's not a good oval track racer. He's a supreme road course racer. He worked on it, losing out to Montoya in 2015 here, but finishing second. Springboarded Will Power's confidence level at this racetrack. And now here he is, I've told you before, so smooth and so calm and so confident all month. And now just over a lap away from checking that last box of career goals.
He's got one back marker to cut through.
And that box that you talk about, we mentioned earlier on the show, if you drive for Roger Penske, yes, you can win championships. As he's coming up for one lap to go, the white flag is flying, but you need to make sure that you win an Indianapolis 500 if you want to retain your job with Team Penske.
Clear by 40.
The lap car is Charlie Kimball. You hear the radio call, clear by 40 car lengths, 2 corners to go. Fans on their feet waving and cheering. He'll never be introduced the same way again. From now on, it'll be Will Power, Indianapolis 500 winner for 2018. Checkered flag, Power and Penske win it.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God! Hell of a job there, big guy. Good job, number 12. Oh, great job, guys. Great, thank you. You're a hell of a man there. Oh, man, you won it.
Roger Penske on the radio. His wife Liz enjoying seeing her husband become the 72nd driver to win the Indy 500. Doc?
Liz, he just won the Indy 500. Your emotion. Oh.
I can't even.
What were you thinking that last lap?
I knew he could do it. I had kind of a weird calm. Normally I'm really rested, but I knew we could. And the guys, the team, not without them. I mean, with that last lap, I'm thinking, okay, all right, I can breathe. I'm so proud of them, all of them.
He told me at home in quiet moments, he shared with you how much he wanted this race.
He wanted it so bad. So bad. He was so determined for this one. And he did it. He's been focused.
Go celebrate.
Thank you.
How about that, Alan? Liz Power's husband is an Indy 500 winner.
I think we saw earlier from Al Unser Jr. Said it's Indianapolis, you just don't know what it means. Well, that's a good illustration right there. It's 5:25 in the morning in Australia. I bet you there's a lot of folks up and about, cheering and about to start a big old day-long celebration.
How much energy was pent up in there?
Ago. That was you. What does that feel like?
That's a hard one to answer. It's like your world just starts all over again. I'm so glad I got to witness him winning.
such a long way from Toowoomba, Australia to Victory Lane. He gets a hug from Simon Pagenaud. Let's talk about what this means. What a long journey you've had to this place today.
Man, I just can't believe it. I changed my attitude a lot after Barber. Very positive, had a great month. I just can't believe it. I got to thank Roger Penske, Verizon, and my parents for allowing me to get to this point. This is just, I can't describe it. I feel like collapsing. I want to cry. Oh my God, I couldn't stop screaming on the radio. I can't believe it.
All right, so you're leading with just a handful of laps to go, and the yellow flag comes out. What's going through your mind?
I'm just like, I have to get these guys. I don't know how much fuel they got, but I'm just, this is a restart of my life. And then I go on and to pit, I'm like, man, I think I'm going to win this. I was screaming on with one to go, screaming like, man, I got this. Unbelievable.
All right, you've had some low moments in your life, things that got away from you. We were so close. Does that make this so much sweeter for a guy who's at your age, 37 years old, to win this Indy 500?
I was wondering if I would ever win it, and thoughts went through my mind during the month, I guess. It's like, my career, I've had so many wins, so many poles, but everyone always talks about the 500, and I won it. I just couldn't imagine winning a race in front of a crowd like this. This many people, it's just amazing. What an event. I love it.
Well, the Borg Warner Trophy's behind you. Your face is going to be on it. Congratulations, Will Power.
Roger Penske with his 17th win as an Indianapolis 500 owner. You know that made him happy. The team, they work so hard on these race cars. So hard. What a payoff. And the driver, the dream is reality. Will Power, you are an Indianapolis 500 winner. What a day, what a race, and still much more to come from the Brickyard.